how did it start for you?
To be completely honest, I think the first few of my projects were, of course, out of just like fun shits and giggles. And it really wasn't until after I felt like life kept beating me up. And I suffered from like severe anxiety, and I still do, severe depression. And COVID helped and didn't help with that as well. So I noticed that there was like a pattern that I had, and it's be aspired, be inspired, go do something great, fall down, hesitate, cry for a while, and then get over myself and then do it all over again. And so there's just this pattern. And finally, instead of running to blame people, places, and things, I started to want to dig deeper and get to the bottom of it. Because there's so many different perspectives and so many people's opinions of what we're supposed to do in that situation. Some people say pop a pill. Some people say, self-medicate. Some people say, no, I'm a vegan. Like, it goes to so many different extremities. And I just wanted to find out how I could learn how to be better. And honestly, it didn't happen until a suicide attempt. And it was almost like I was speaking to myself through my art, giving myself like hidden messages and codes and stuff. And it's just like, at this time, like, I look back and look at that specific piece, and it says, love can only exist if you do. So somehow it's like I was able to save my own life that night. And it's crazy because all of my art since then, I've just been like just digging deep into art. And I would have to say that the biggest crazy thing that I've noticed is that everything's colorful, everything's vibrant, everything's positive, everything is like you would never think any type of negative. But every single piece came from some type of pain or hurt, or like where I just wanted to be able to breathe. And art for me was that pill that I could go ahead and swallow without feeling any judgment. I could finally, like, as they say, meditate and gravitate to a whole different place, not caring who's looking at me, even though I totally don't like people watching me do art. But it's a tool that I use that I can literally just travel anywhere at any time and just be there in that vibe and gel. And it's like unspoken word. How there's spoken word, for me, this is my unspoken word. These are the things that I can show you, but I could never tell you, because principalities and everything, perspectives, we're all there, and we were all right.
Oh, that's really powerful, Destiny. Especially as someone myself who've also attempted before and went through my own journey of finding what my creative pill, quote unquote pill, is. And in that journey of self-discovery, what were some initial breakthroughs that you discovered when take us from after the attempt to your first few paintings? What were they, and how did it come about?
All of them came from anger. Like, there of course always is an underlying sadness, I think, to everybody's transgression or whatever, and growth, development. But I think for me, it's definitely been frustration that's taken me to part of this transformation. Anger, definitely, because people don't really do anything until you push them to the point that they're going to bite back. So I think that I was just mentally, physically, financially pushed to that point where just everything was ridiculous. And um, I don't know if I'm answering the question the right way, but pretty much the the feeling was like Eric Thomas says in this one video about how bad do you want it? Bad enough to breathe? Come out a little further. You don't know how to swim? Just come out a little further until he's almost drowning. And he said, how bad do you want it though? So I would say that I wanted to breathe so bad that I didn't care who laughed at me. I didn't care who made fun of me. I didn't care about the negative connotations in my head. I didn't care about people's opinions of me, or if I look like that crazy ape shit, that shit crazy person bringing in all this junk and making art out of it, because that's just what I felt like was called to do that day.
Yeah, there's there's such a stigma around the word crazy. Uh,
Absolutely.
I think crazy historically have been designed to silence people, to dismiss people, to control people. Um, and this label of crazy to do something outside of what n- the normalized, statistically normalized population would not do, but the crazy ones, would do, such as, taking what people would perceive as junk and beautifying it into art. What does that reflect in your personal experience where you've taken or been through what is perceived as junk and then redefined it into something beautiful as art? Do you see a parallel in your art and your personal life? And if so, what is that?
I think for the longest time I didn't put a connection to it actually. Um, I didn't. For the longest time, I believed lies. I believed the lies, and then, like I said, I kind of just fell into myself. And this time, I didn't fight it; I allowed it. And with that, um, the correlation they didn't line up, because what I thought I was doing and where I was going, I thought I was failing and fast, and I felt like I had might as well just enjoy the ride because this is my wave right now, you know? Um, but realistically, I could say that I've created a podcast studio. I've created a home for my son. I've got food in the fridge. I started in here with an air mattress and I was a roommate, and bed bugs and like insane amounts of plagues and trials. And for me to be here 3 years later with none of that but my own head, I'll deal with that. Because right now, I guess the correlation that I can put literally right now is that I put in all of the work, nobody else.
Mm.
Nobody else sat here and cried with me at night. Nobody else sat here and, this is me. This was my determination. I decided that I don't know what I'm doing and I don't care. I'm just going to keep on going because obviously God takes care of all of us, the good, the bad, the ugly, the in between, the confused, we all are taken care of. So just start letting it happen instead of forcing it. Just let it happen. And I started just getting really creative about what could I make happen on my own? What could I see that I can create to give to other people. And for me, I felt like I could create a space where other creatives could come in and start using that. And maybe we could collaborate, whether it's a therapeutic thing, like art is for me, or a each one teach one type of giving back to the community and helping these kids not go down that road of giving up or just falling for everybody else's lies as their reality. That everybody's truth is defined by themselves. So if you want to come color with me. If you want to sing, come sing with me. If you want to come interview, let's play interview. Like whatever it is, I wanted to create a space that could be used.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I definitely hear that there's this moment of make or break when it was literally sink or swim for you. The point where you had to will yourself keep swimming so you can lift your head up to breathe again, because it sounded like you were sinking. And so you put in this effort to surface, to resurface. What was the process like when you were swimming up to take a breath of air? Like, what was that process like, the struggle? Could you take us into a concrete moment in your timeline where you were feeling that despair? Because depression is really that moment of feeling like you're sinking against gravity. What was the struggle like for you? Where were you? What were some thought processes that went on, and how did you fight it?
I was in the past or in the future, but never here. And even right now, I struggle with just that. So I don't think that it's something that I've actually gotten to like, um, the magic wand. I haven't gotten that yet. It's more like an accident, and I tripped over my powers, and here it is. I'm still somehow alive. And I say that like to everybody. Everybody has, their strength, their power, their weaknesses, whatever it is. But mine, I would definitely say it's not something that has been like I have the answer end all cure all. It's more like I don't know how it works. I don't know how my heart works either, though. I don't know how my, you know, we intend to do things, but we don't tell ourselves we're going to do it. And I think that that's where we kind of mess up, is when we start telling ourselves what we're supposed to do. When if you can just get to that point of realness with yourself, then what's supposed to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, it's about getting honest.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I definitely could see a theme of like depression being fighting the lies and finding some kind of truth among the lies, or being able to point out where the truth is among the lies.
I think it would be better if maybe I can show you a couple of my pieces and explain it.
Yeah.
Because life, if I tried to spit up life in a painting right now, there's not canvas big enough. But just for instance, some of my most favorite works, I have this one right over here. Let's see if I can get this. This one is one of my last favorite ones that I have. And this one, it's transparent. You can see me through it. Strength.
Yeah.
This I would explain as, this was one of the hardest nights in my life, and I just didn't feel like a good enough mom. I didn't feel like a good enough daughter. I didn't feel like I'd be good enough anything ever. And I finally, and I was so frustrated. I needed to paint. I needed to. I fell asleep on this painting. and I fell asleep with paint all over my bed and all over my leg, everything. And but with that, like, this painting to me, even though it looks like surrendering, even though it looks like giving up, this is strength. This is her taking everything that she has within her and getting up, deciding that no matter how hard she's getting hit, that she's still getting up. So that's, for instance, one of the themes, and this is one of the more recent ones.
No,
Um,
Destiny, at first when you held it up, it looked like a heart.
wow, I see it now, but yeah,
And then when you put the white backdrop to it so we could see it non-transparently, we realized it was a human. That's basically on the, child's pose, but standing up position. And
yeah,
I definitely could see it as the person, the artist, about to cower, but not, because I could see like the hand on the ground resisting against
yeah.
the ground. Like, no, like about to, but no. So it's very powerful. It's a very powerful painting.
Thank you. Um, I have another one right here. I have this one. Oopsie. This one right here is conformity. And this one right here, she's wearing a like a potato sack over her head.
Hmm.
Like her head is covered. You
Hmm.
see it's in the light.
Actually, could you put it away from the light because it glares?
There we go.
Yeah, right there, right there. Uh-huh.
So she's nude, and then she's got like a mask right here, and the ribbons from the mask, the porcelain mask, are entangled to her tie around her neck. And I'll definitely send you some B footage of this.
Yeah.
Um, but this one right here, this one, it's just she's controlled by everybody else, and she has to put on a mask. And I did this way before coronavirus. It is like in 2014.
Prophetic.
So
Hey, could you put it up again? I want to point something out that I see here. Um, yeah, right there. I see from this vantage point, I also see a like a demon character. Um,
yeah, that's the mask. Mhm.
okay, okay, got it. And then he's blowing out yellow smoke, but that almost looks like an echo of his facade.
This is her brain says peer pressure, and she's got one eye closed and one eye open. And she's got a flame from beneath and a flame from above whispering in her ear. So, what that represents is the chaos, confusion that all of us have when trying to do our best or make a decision or anything like that. We we come to a crossroads of what is fact and what is relative and what do I really want. Um, and so that's why she's still and colorful. There's no like whatever. Even my health wings are like a candy party, like it looks like a Fanta or something. But no, um, it's just to represent the chaos and the madness in this generation that we have. You
Yeah.
know, people are so old school, people are so new school, people are so confused. People, I mean, up means down. Being grounded is a bad thing. That's why kids cry and puff and puff. And um, bad is good. You want to be a bad girl or a bad IG, whatever. I don't know. I don't follow that. But I think it's so crazy that we are so down for these terms that are confusing us, really. I got at a very young age that hurt people. I understood that. I've always been very empathetic. My mom said that I'm an empath. I think that, yeah, I can definitely feel for somebody else, and have compassion. But with that same thing, when people hurt me, very quick to turn into like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type, ugly, crazy, hurt, abandoned, poor me, pity party, everything, right? Like it's a 2-year-old throwing a tantrum. And so I use art to kind of express the way I'm feeling. So that way I don't have to necessarily take it out on people, like you said. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but that's why I like art a lot more than people.
I relate to what you said about the Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I'm the same way. When I get wounded, I turn into a mini monster, and I
Mhm.
start scheming, and like all sorts of craziness happens on the inside. And if I don't have my journaling, if I don't have my writing, my community, my creative space, I would be a different person, but having that intervention of, for me, it's creative writing. For you, it's painting, art, and so I guess my question is like, how does it feel when after or during your art, when you're painting it, when you're drawing it, how does that whole process feel for you internally?
I think it definitely depends on what piece and what I'm feeling, but um, it is a determination. And for me, everybody who knows me personally knows that I have like probably one of the worst cases of ADD. Like there's been sentences, conversations that completely get cut off of like nothing. But with that being said, there's a God-given focus that cannot be taken when I'm painting, like to the point where I will be falling asleep like a child on my painting, trying to stay awake, trying to get that out. There's been times where I have absolutely no idea what I'm painting. I'm just going with whatever it looks like, and it turns out amazing. Um, it usually takes me a few sessions to finish a painting, only because I'll start with certain medium and then I'll, depending on how deep it goes, I might end up with a whole different, like, I might start with watercolors and then end up with spray paint, like for details, or gel pens for details, or it just depends. And I think that the creative process of breaking down what I'm trying to express and allowing that freedom to be whatever feels good on the canvas, that's been my just like, it shocks me sometimes. Like when I finish a painting, I'm just like, wow, I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't even know I had that in me. I definitely was not trying to make that, but that was so awesome. So there's like one over here that says, it was just a bunch of geometric shapes that I went into. And then afterwards, uh, I looked at it from afar and it actually says breathe. But if you really look like deeper into it and you look at like the bottom half, it says breathe death. And I'll show you this, but it is so crazy because I didn't have any intentions of writing anything in there. And it's so colorful and so bright and so like nobody is even paying attention. They're like, okay, birth, like what? I've already asked a couple people what they thought it was, and nobody's seen breathe death. So I just like to play on the illusion of the double-minded person. I definitely like to illustrate the two sides of the coin, the fact that we all have a torn slipper and that we all on our journey. That's what I typically like to.
Yeah. I want to make a social commentary on the double-minded. Even in the Bible, there's scripture in there that talks about ye of double minds. I'm quoting like James, but I don't know the exact line but it's basically God saying and acknowledging that ye, meaning humans, are double-minded. And I think what is baffling to me is that it's become a psychological, mental, quote, illness, you know,
Yeah.
when in actuality, it's yin yang. It's two sides to the same coin. It's as natural as birth and death, as love and hate, as light and dark, as, like everyone has a range of double minded, whether it's like a little to a lot, you know, and it's good that you are able to convey that. My question to you personally is, when did you first become aware of your double mind? And did you feel like you were the only one initially?
No, I feel like it's stuck as a consciousness. When you're a kid, you try to not get in trouble. Well, at least I tried not to get in trouble. Um, so I would constantly be thinking, how can I not get in trouble? Because I didn't try to get in trouble last time. So the double-mindedness not only came probably from my mom who and my grandma who instilled it in me, like, okay, this is right, this is wrong, not just from the Bible, but also from God-given consciousness. Like, do you feel this is right? Or do you feel this is wrong? Because for a long time, I feel like I used to be a doormat and a people pleaser. And sometimes I still can be. But um, I think that, lost track, rewind, go back. Oh, come on. Hold on.
Double-mindedness.
So,
When did you
double
become?
mindedness. I think that when I finally got grasp was probably within this last year of really understanding it, that it wasn't just a narrative, that it was me being my own therapy. I just always allowed myself to realistically go down and look in the mirror and see what I did in certain situations, self analyzing, and how I could have gotten better results because I didn't get the results I necessarily wanted, or I paid consequences that I didn't feel I necessarily deserved. So I beat myself up more than I beat the world up, just trying to look for what the fuck? Like, it just, that's all I wanted. You lied, you lied, you lied. Y'all all got on that side. I told the truth. Why am I on this side? Like, y'all over there winning where I wanted to be. And then I had to readjust my priorities. Is that really where you wanted to sit? Or does it just look like that? Because if we all have our own tribes, why would I have to force my way into mine? So I had to really start thinking, is that really what I wanted, or is that what was put in a box and told for me to want? And exploring those depths and the double mindedness, I think it just got me to understand uh, empathetically just who am I and what do I want to be and what do I want to represent and what am I not going to allow anymore. So the double mind just helped as a counselor for me, like you said, being in the
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds to me that, organically you would prefer to be authentic and honest and let your yeses be yeses and your nos be nos, but it sounds like not everyone's playing that game, and it's almost like if you don't play it, then you're not part of that tribe, whatever that tribe may be. And this kind of narrow definition of success, or whatever we glamorize as being quote successful, sometimes entails being double-minded as a way to get to that quote unquote success. And it sounds to me that you came to that point where you're just like, enough is enough. I don't like this, and I don't care if I have to give up on my whatever material success to, I just don't like being this way. um, And
I
yeah,
don't like feeling this way. I'm not a good asset to the world. I can't give if I'm not my best. And that's just like, I finally understood that's not about me being in a mansion. That's not about me being in a nice car. That's not about my bank account. That's not about anything. It means that if you guys got me, and look at there's the blame again, quick to blame. If y'all and everything want to put me in such a fucked up fucking Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde mood, well then guess what? I got nothing for you. But if I start to love myself and stop allowing myself in those type of situations where I'm allowed to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and it's not for the double-minded growth, it's just toxic, then I have legit my cup is empty and all I have is fire to spit at you. Like I want love in my heart because I know that I'm a good person. At the end of the day, like it's I think very simply put, it's very hard to find the beauty in things. And then I finish a painting because it came from ugliness inside and me just wanting to breathe. And the results of them is I survived that day, that monster, that thought here. And I got another canvas that I can use to paint on. Get a couple requests coming on. So I'm gonna drop off a painting today. I'm working on this one as well. I'm doing 2 of these for a friend. I got one for moms, and they're just slowly coming in, and it's beautiful.
yeah, yeah, that's definitely true. Hey, could you show me the one of that's inspired by your son with the crayon?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So right over here, this is a picture of my son,
Yeah.
and it's almost like it's honestly to me, this is like he was almost telling me from the jump he knew what my purpose was. He knew in his heart and soul, and this child was my angel telling me, don't give up, mom. You're creative. Just let go of everything. But you like just his eyes alone, his subtle, like grown man, you got this, was just so crazy to journey through as the realization came through. So I don't know if I just have such a creative mind that I just make these meanings up as I go. I don't know.
Or maybe
But
it's intuition, true intuition. Mama to son, son
yeah,
to mama.
I got that one right there. This one's kind of pretty much me saying fuck the world.
Nice.
This one is I don't know. I should really put a label on all of them because like I feel like I always have um names for them, but I just forget when I'm put on the spot. But this one is pretty much like my version of Maya.
Ah, Maya
Okay,
Angelou,
so
right? Maya Angelou.
no, like the concept of Maya.
Oh,
Like,
Maya, the goddess of illusion.
yes.
Okay,
So
got
right here, she's in chaos and the waters, they're all crazy, like a storm's hit it. But she is calm,
it.
even though she's stained and tarnished.
Mhm.
She's got her third eye open, but her eyes are closed.
Mhm.
Um, and she's got like a halo around her. So that to me just it represented that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Um, I got this one, which is Gap inspired. I seen a picture outside of the Gap, and for some reason it was in the trash, so I decided to, go with it, use it as a reference. And then here's my little wall of art that I've created.
Wow.
This is me when I was pregnant with my son.
Oh, you have that mama glow.
And then I've got this is the Breathe Death one I was telling you about. And this one is a tree, but if I turn you sideways, it should spell out love.
Wow. And it's gnarled too. It's like a gnarled trunk, it's like knotted.
So that one right there is my mom.
Ooh, I
She
like
was
how
in
you're
this
walking
movie.
up to her. It's very symbolic. You're
Very.
walking up to her.
Is Ganesh.
Ah,
So she's got the four arms,
mm-hmm,
and she's got the right hand for power.
mm-hmm,
She has the right hand giving, and then she's got the left with the vice, which is in a martini glass with a heart in it.
mm-hmm,
And then she's got the left hand taking. She's coming from a genie.
mm-hmm.
And this also expresses my mom's transformation because my mom was bigger when I was younger, and she had gotten like the weight loss surgery. And so just this entails a lot and represents a lot to me, because my mom ultimately, I guess, you know, your mother is the one to influence you right and wrong. It's called Torn Slipper.
It's called what?
Torn Slipper.
Oh, torn slipper.
Hmm.
Okay.
So what that means is that we all have a choice to make. This ballerina dancer, she's dancing and she's choosing to dance, regardless of her slipper being ripped. Well, I think for me, it was just the fact that she chose to keep dancing with a torn slipper. I mean, a lot of times people give up at, oh, I fell. I'm not going to get back on the skateboard. Or, oh, whatever the case may be, they don't want to continue doing it because of something. They make an excuse. So
Mm,
the fact that she had a choice to make to either get off stage or be Beyonce, and she chose to keep on dancing, that's what I like to display in a lot of my stuff.
beautiful. Tell us about the palm.
I wish I could. This one, I think, like, this one, I don't even remember. I just remember I traced my hand, and I was coloring with one of the little neighbors. There
Hmm.
wasn't a lot of like thought process behind that one. Um, this one was my first pour. This one I got to experiment with just mixing the paint colors and then adding the stuff to like kind of make it kind of marbleize and stuff. And I kind of wanted to just see what I could do.
This is my creative artist residence, and this is a creative outlet and space for people to come and do all sorts of things, make music, do podcasts. I mean, you put in the effort, it's your brainchild, and you're putting together so much, I would say, so much of you, so much of your honesty all over the canvas of your home. It's like you transformed inside out through time, or you're transforming inside out.
So this is the studio. I would say this is the studio, the actual paint studio. Whole
Mhm.
bunch of just rawness out here. Um, just yeah. I'm trying to definitely create a space where people can just come and be vulnerable. And I think that that's something that I learned from you, and I appreciate
Oh,
you most because of that.
thank
Not being afraid to be broken. Yeah.
you. So
Because once you're not afraid to be broken and not afraid to just do it anyway, that's when you can actually start change.
And I see it,
So
Destiny. I
that's
see.
all I gotta
I
say.
First off, I want to acknowledge you for taking on the call. I still remember when you um, had that moment of clarity when you were side by side with Maya. Maya, from one of the creative artists that used to dance with Prince. We interviewed her together, and I remember that moment very vividly where you broke down and just cried because it was so genuine. It moved you to the core. And I see the pivot manifest right now, Destiny. I definitely see you transforming from broken into broken open. And it's like so amazing to see it open in the context of your first transforming your home from the inside out and allowing that all that angst, all that pain, all that anger to just turn that fertilizer shit into blooming canvases that are so mosaically poignant for everyone. It tells a different story, it's a different angle. So, and by the way, you don't look a day older than when we met, like, what, 5 years ago? I don't know, like 4 years ago. Just, you look younger, even. You know what I mean? Like,
I
you
really
look
feel like
younger because I just see the glow of an artist, and it's just so invaluable. It's so invaluable. Like, there's no amount of pills, spas,
I don't do any of
plastic
that stuff.
surgery that's going to preserve our glow. And it's such about staying true to who you are. And it's just, I just want to acknowledge you for your return to innocence, for your return to staying true to your integral core self.
But it's worth it. It is not anywhere near easier. But when you choose you, when the world is already against you anyways, you'll just see stuff just start to make no sense, but it'll make sense in the best way for you. And you don't have to be an ugly person. You don't have to do this, that, and the other. Just accept who you are, and you're broken and you're not perfect. And then you can actually help somebody else. Like, I think that that's what empowers me most, actually, is when I'm out there helping people. And I don't know how my art's going to help the world yet, but it helps me. So if I can be helped enough to help other people, then that works with me. With me and for me.
I agree with you 100%, Destiny. And I will say that the art piece that you showed me that looked like a heart, that was, drawn on the transparent glass, but then it was actually a human being, like, hovered over. So this morning I listened to Pastor Judah Smith about how weakness is actually a strength. And nothing could be more true than what I'm seeing before me, of a woman that looked so broken and beaten down, yet, and there's always that yet, like, not yet, like, I got this. I'm almost down for the count, but I'm going to take that 11th hour moment, and I'm going to transform through it. So
Or go down with my ship. And that passion alone is the magic that you need. It's that if this ship goes down, I will not sell out. I'm going to stand and wear my crown, and I'm going down with it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it just, I don't know, it fuels me. It gives me energy. It gives me the strength to, yeah, well, if you know you're going to, like, I think that I started just like, kind of like, if you know you're going to lose anyways, well, then why not fucking, like, if you're going to fall, why not fall forward? Why are you going to fall backwards? And like yesterday when, hey, if I'm going to fall forward, I might make that jump. Like, there is a 50-50 chance or a percentage, no matter how big or small it is, that I might make it to the other side.